Hey, welcome to Quick Looks at the Casual Hour. My name is Bobby. Joining me today is Chase, and we are about to go fast. Yeah, we're going to go fast. We're playing Sonic Frontier.
We have to go fast.
We have to go
some
fast.
Might even say.
Chase, I didn't think this was going to happen. What do you think?
Man. So our third co-host Johnny and I have been kind of going back and forth through some text chains of, "Hey, are you gonna try this fucking Sonic game?" And it's like, "No, man, of course not. This thing looks terrible. I wouldn't be caught dead playing this." I think it looks bad too. Never in my wildest dreams that I think that Bobby Pease would be the one of the three of us who would end up trying this.
Who pulled the trigger?
Who apparently even kind of likes this.
I think I do. It's certainly a very fascinating game. What do you, before we start talking about like why we should or shouldn't like this game and I start showing off shit, why don't you tell me what you know about it?
Sure. Sonic Frontiers, developed by Sonic Team, of course, published by Sega, of course. It's on your Nintendo Switch, your PS4, PS5, your PC, your Xbox One, your Xbox Series X and S. Came out November 8th. And here's a thing that I learned when I looked this up. This game is written by Ian Flynn. Bobby, I have a guess that name doesn't mean anything to you, correct?
Not really.
Ian Flynn was a chief writer for the Archie Comics Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
Oh, really?
He came in a little bit later after issue 160. That's wild to me that they got the guy who wrote the Sonic comic book to write this thing. It actually is maybe the most interesting thing I've heard about this game, to the point of, oh god, do I need to play this now? I used to be a huge fan of the Sonic comic book back in the day, and man, there's no way this is good, right, Pop? What did they do? What did they make here?
So I just triggered one of the many events in the game. There's that red beam over there. This is for me to essentially fill out the map of this game. So I need to get over here to this area in time. And this is very early, by the way. So let me just call that out. This is basically just outside of the tutorial where they are going to be like...
This is a terrible map.
Well, there's no map there, Chase. We're building it.
I understand, but just the idea of the squares...
So it's nighttime now, by the way. Sonic now has a day and night cycle. So we've got that going for us. I
think the big point... Oh, sorry. You were about to say it.
Yeah, this is a gigantic open world Sonic game that in a post Breath of the Wild world is wearing a lot of those influences on its sleeves. I mean, people involved in the game has been very clear, like, hey, we like Breath of the Wild. And it's very apparent. There's all kinds of shit here that feels very different, even for like Sonic Adventure-esque games. So let me pull this up here. You've got an actual skill tree that you can go into and unlock abilities with Sonic. You get skill points by leveling up your character. If I come back out here, bottom left-hand corner, you can see at this point, I'm at level 1 for my ring capacity, my shield, my defense, my speed, and then my attack. So I'm pretty squishy at this point. I'm up to levels like 18, 19 on my actual playthrough because I just saved this. For the sake of this quick look, I wanted to show off a little bit of like, not too much. I mean, I don't know how much there's to spoil at this point in time for the game, but it is pretty bizarre what they've done here. I think that there's some stuff that reminds me of Death Stranding. I think definitely like Breath of the Wild. There's even some traditional, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but there's some classic Sonic moments that you'll get to go a part of. So like here you can see that I don't have the requirements to unlock this, We would get that by taking on, a boss or some sort of world event. Where let me see if I can get us back near the front of where we were at here.
Okay. This really is a huge departure for Sonic games. Sonic games almost exclusively have been very level based, very forward progress looking games that you'd go, oh, hi there.
We'll see what this is all about.
Sure. And Sonic has tried a number of things in the past. You talked about how this game is kind of doing a Breath of the Wild thing, and here it seems like it's kind of doing a Shadow of the Colossus thing as well. But
Sonic Shadow of the Colossus, please.
Oh, don't. Oh, God. Yes, Shadow the Hedgehog of the Colossus.
Yes.
Oh, God, that made a bad taste in my mouth. I remember what Sonic game was it? There was a Sonic game that was very much like, oh hey, somebody played Mario Galaxy, and we made a Sonic game based on that. That's just weird geometry and gravity stuff and moving around there. Sonic's tried a bunch of different things in the past, and a lot of these games are not very good, and somehow sell a ton of copies anyway because kids just fucking like Sonic. And that part also, I get. I also fucking like Sonic. Just not these games.
What's not to like? So we're taking on this big ass Colossus thing. And you're gonna find a lot of things like that in the game, in the world, for no apparent reason. There's a reason why you're in this cyber style world. You have a big altercation with Robotnik, as you can probably imagine. As I pull up the map, you're going to see not a whole lot right now, but as you're unlocking it, there's going to be a bunch of various things for you. So we just did that event. There we are. And you can see I've worked early on just by checking off a few things, but Amy is going to be floating around, like literally floating around. She's still caught in between the worlds. And so when you see her, you're trying to build her back to life. But then there's going to be other things that, like, you're going to unlock mechanics. Like this guy has, clearly, I can attack him right now, but if he has that up, I can't. But I have this ability to run around, and then I do this attack, blow his shield off of him. And there's little weird puzzly encounters that you're going to need to do in this game. There's a combo meter over on the right that you can see there. That is going to continue to be stuff that you can increase, decrease, put points into, unlock new abilities. I might even just unlock my save here in a little bit to show some of the stuff that I've gotten so far with him.
Do you get this ability from the very beginning?
You get that one pretty quick. It's not that one. This one here. It's the very first thing that you unlock. As you can see at the top of the skill tree. The Psy loop is what they call it. So you just hold down Y when you're running around. I've also, when the combo meter is maxed out, Phantom Rush. If you've played a Persona game, this is like an all-out attack. It looks really cool. It doesn't happen too often.
Or if you've read Naruto before.
Yeah. A high-speed kick that unleashes shockwaves to pummel the enemy. Hold L midair during a combo. That one's really cool. I'll show that off here in a second also. But then there's what's the
purple energy that you're collecting? What does that get you?
Those coins? Which ones? There's a bunch of things.
When you attacked that, when you killed that enemy, it had some kind of pinky purple aura that you collected.
Yeah, I got. I believe that was a gear. And that's going to be used to find keys that you can use to unlock shit. Let's see if we get one here. Okay. So this is clearly a puzzle that you're going to be using to unlock parts of the map.
Yeah, one of those touch every space without touching the other spaces. Yep. Yeah.
So this is how you add more squares to your map, or one of the ways that you add stuff to your map. So that'll fill in a little bit more of it. And you're just piecing together the map and then other things that you can grab there. It did give me this item, which I can actually show you right up here. There's hermit cocoa, and you're going to be picking up different types of seeds that will raise your attack and defense.
Oh, you mean Koroks?
Well, it's very similar. And the one thing I will call out that is a little bizarre, so there's subtitles down there, which is great. And this is an encounter where you don't have voice acting. There's voice acting in the game, but they don't say who's speaking. And there'll be times where you're talking, and then times when the other person's talking, you're like, wait a second, who's actually saying this? So you give these things off, and then you can see that we went up because I had a lot of those. So now I'm at 15 and 14 on my defense and my attack. So pretty easy to bounce around once you start to acquire things. But there is main objectives.
You're right. From an accessibility standpoint, that sucks that you can't, that they don't have who the speaker is.
Not great on that sense, but there's like a lot of those types of things. The one thing I do like is if you press in the left thumbstick, buy coins, you will automatically just follow the coins.
Okay, yeah, the light dash, I think they've called it in previous Sonic games. One of the things that I noticed when I was looking at trailers for this game, when I was forming my opinion about it, is that this open world part just felt very dead, and I mean, not empty exactly. Like, look here, you see all sorts of shit here, but it doesn't feel very organic in the way that it just kind of tosses these different Sonic-like elements in here. And then this game does seem to have some specific levels, like you mentioned. There are some more traditional style, race from the front to the end levels that you'll also find in here. How are you finding just the world itself as you run around here?
Very fascinating and very bizarre. But the only thing I can make sense of is that it is supposed to be just, what the fuck is this place? Based off of how you got here and what it is, like, it is supposed to be pretty disorienting. Now, whether or not that's like overplayed here, I don't know, man. Like, would I rather see like Green Hill Zone animations and artwork? Absolutely. You're not gonna, I mean, these people played Breath of the Wild and like, that's what we want Sonic to be. We want Sonic they wanted to be as bold as Nintendo was when it came to oh yeah, that's his voice, by the way, that you're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than maybe what you've been used to the last several years with Ben Schwartz. I don't know, like it's very
Steve Urkel will forever be my Sonic.
That's fair. It feels nothing like a Sonic world at all. Like, if I somehow just removed Sonic out of the picture and I showed this to you, I don't think anybody in a sane mind would be like, oh, that's Sonic.
I mean, you're getting some of that here. The grinding, the super dashes, just the sense of speed. I think all of this is pretty solid and definitely feels like Sonic. But then I'm listening to the soundtrack and I'm just hearing gentle ass piano music. And I'm like, this is not, Crush 40 or whoever the fuck did the Sonic Adventure songs. Like, I want to hear fucking City Escape and or go further back and I want to hear like Mystic Cave Zone music and things like that.
This is Amy being caught between the worlds. You find these pink hearts. I've gotten a few of those while playing. Each time you encounter Amy, it's like, hey, you need to have 20 of these for her to have this little sequence with you as you're trying to make her whole again. There's a lot of content that you're getting here in the game, from things you're collecting to filling out your map even, and just some of those bits. But here we can unlock this and I can show you what more of like a tried and true Sonic level in this game would look like. So there's going to be a bunch of these, I guess they're like warps. This is how you get to Biggs, the cat also. Those purple coins that I was getting are what you use with him. And he has a fishing mini game. But you'll find one of these that is purple and you can go to that and you can like fish out scrolls that will do like fast traveling in that world that you're in. There's very interesting. Oh, this is also like the Assassin's Creed of Sonic, where
Oh, sure.
this is like what you do while the game's loading. It's just teaching you how to do, other shit. But yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it and show you what this looks like.
Yeah.
And you can go into that training sequence at any time, if you wanted to take on a little bit more, just learning the mechanics and shit.
I mean, this definitely feels more like Sonic. This is the Sonic that I know.
Yeah. So you got a lot of these levels. They each have certain things that you can unlock, from like red coins to the time that you do it. There will be a letter rating on it. This shit looks really cool, I think.
Yeah. I assume there's some branching path stuff in here that looked like there was a way to go up higher if you went on a different set of zips.
Yep.
And I mean, this was kind of the problem with Sonic Unleashed, if I remember right, is that you had those daytime levels that felt like this, felt really cool, felt fast, felt like traditional Sonic. But the problem was you had the night levels where you were playing as the werehog, where everything slowed down and became a poor feeling brawler, and that just didn't feel good. It's the eternal problem with Sonic, is that you play these things so fast. The whole point is going fast, and it makes for an incredible amount of work from a developing standpoint to make these land masses and levels that people are just going to keep blowing through and barely look at, because that's the point.
Right.
So for them, it makes sense. You want to find ways of slowing Sonic down and having a smaller brawler area where you can force somebody to play 15 minutes of this kind of content instead of the other kind of content. That makes some sense. And I feel like they're kind of doing it here as well. It's just that by making a huge open world for you to run around in, you can still kind of get that sense of speed, even though it's still kind of slowing you down in a way and not giving you those traditional Sonic levels that,
spoiler alert,
probably require quite a bit of work. Look at this motherfucker.
It's not a terrible spoiler, but definitely some story beat stuff. I'm not going to show all of it, but you had to see your boy Eggman.
Sure. Yes.
So each portal has its own set of missions. Completing those missions will reward you Chaos Emerald Vault keys. The current amount of obtained vault keys is displayed in the upper left of the screen, while the number required to open the next vault is on the map. So you're going to be working to unlock those to bust open the Chaos Vaults. And from there, you'll be able to progress story shit to next level. And that's been so far what I've been up to. Checking out the world, doing some missions, building out my map, falling off shit that I shouldn't fall off of. But for
the thing I've heard the most from people is that this isn't necessarily a good game, but it's never a boring game. There's so much, and there's so much weird and interesting stuff that it might not be a perfectly manicured experience that I feel like is Sonic's bread and butter, is to have these very thoughtfully built levels that you're speed running, that you're trying to efficiently play through. This is not that, but there's just so many little things in here. Like you went through those little puzzles. There's tiny bits of, hey, here's a rail grinding segment, or here's a part where you're dashing up a building like you just were. Like, that stuff is interesting. I'm not 100% sure if it's good.
I'm having a really good time with this game.
Okay.
I think that it's obviously got some flaws, but dude, like, I don't want to be I was really writing this. I was talking a lot of shit about this game when I first saw the trailers, heard some early reactions of people, and I think that's fair. Oh, we can't go over there yet.
Why can't you go over there?
We're just not. I mean, it's a very generic
invisible
gatekeeping.
wall?
No.
Okay.
Like, here, I'll show you. You like get down here, and it'll be like,
You are not ready.
Oh, okay.
so. But I'm having way more fun with this than I thought I would, and I love Breath of the Wild. I've never been a huge Sonic fan. I was always a Nintendo kid, but there's something about this one that seems to be pretty all right. Let's see if I can trigger this fight.
I'm definitely a Nintendo kid, but I'm also somehow much more a Sonic fan than I am a Mario fan, which feels very weird. Those two things don't feel like they should be compatible.
I think I got some thoughts on this, man. Like, this is like where my head is. This is one of the weirdest interpretations of a video game franchise. Like, Breath of the Wild was done very differently. Like, that's a very different take for Zelda, but still very familiar. And this is such an interesting and fascinating beat for Sonic that feels like a fever dream and feels half-baked at sometimes, but feels fleshed out in others. Mm-hmm. It is one of the most fascinating things I have played in a very long time. And as somebody who's been playing video games for over 35 years, which is weird to say, I'm really just fucking jazzed, to be honest with you, to have that as something that I can be like, you know what? Like, I've known about Sonic for decades now. Decades. And he's become tongue-in-cheek, something I've written off, especially like the openness, the third world perspective of a Sonic game. And I'm really digging it. And it's something that, for a game that you go fast in, there's something about exploring and taking your time with it that just feels pretty good. Like, it's a fine world to like spend time in for some strange reason. I don't know. I could not tell you why I'm so compelled to this game right now.
It is strange. Like, this is not something you'd see from Mario, and I think it's because somehow Sonic has both like a windfall that they know, Sega knows that this is going to sell to kids kind of no matter what they do, so they have the runway to be really experimental, and they use it. Like, they're not so precious with the Sonic brand. Like Mario,
right?
You have to play things pretty specifically as you make a Mario game. Yeah, they do different things, but I think they play Mario a whole lot safer. And the closest thing we've gotten to this for Mario is the Bowser's Fury, in the remake, or not the remake, the port of Super Mario 3D World. And even that feels like, hey, we're just kind of testing this out. If people like it, if it works, maybe we'll do more of this, but we're going to just try this on a very small scale and see what happens. Whereas Sonic said, I don't know, fuck it. We'll just try. Let's just do it. Let's just do it as big as we can, and see what happens.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, I applaud the effort, even if I still don't know if this is for me. It's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing.
It's very, very interesting, for sure.
And Breath of the Wild, you said it was a different thing for Zelda, but this is kind of what Zelda has always been. It's always been about exploring a big world, and yes, that world was, technically more linear than you thought it was, but even going back to the very first Legend of Zelda game, it's about just kind of running around and seeing what's there, and eventually finding the path. And Breath of the Wild said, well, what if we said fuck the path and we just let the big exploring be the whole game? And I think that's rad. Sonic's not been about that. That's
No.
Sonic games are not about exploration necessarily. It's about execution. It's about, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of exploration as you try to find the perfect path, but that game is at its core, get the best times you can, go through these things, go with style, go with speed, and those aren't necessarily things that lend themselves well to an open world style game. And yet, here we are.
Right? It's weird, dude. It's weird.
Yeah. And it doesn't not work. I mean, there's something here.
Dude, I think that there is absolutely something here. And I've only scratched the surface. Like, I'm having... I don't know if it's just my mind, like, is really having a hard time, like, making sense of, like, yeah, you're playing... This is the new Sonic, man. Like, this is what Sonic is now. Versus... This is just a fun, like... You're moving in a way that feels neat. And it's familiar, but different. Like, it's... I'm having a really interesting, like, wave of emotions playing this. Like, some nostalgia, some... Like... Looking forward, like, is this what Sonic's gonna be? Like, I don't know. Like, I
mean,
can't tell you.
I think if this thing sells super well, and if this thing gets critical appeal, and it seems like so far it has been getting some pretty positive reviews. I could see that, but also Sonic has been so experimental that I could also see the next thing being completely different.
Yeah.
Or both. I mean, they put out Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces like at the same time, right? So there's...
Oh, we did it.
What'd you do? You
Oh, shit.
going even faster now?
Yeah, so... I'm gonna skip this request to, like, go and hit that map thing. So you see the upper left corner? I've got 400 rings, and when you do that, you unlock this. You just start going super fucking fast in the game, and you can increase your, like, total speed. Like, that's one of the things that you have an upgrade path to, but also your ring capacity, where it doesn't make sense on it, because if you have 400, which is the starting point, you go super fast. But you can increase the amount of rings that you need to have to go super fast. And my understanding is that you just keep going faster with that. But anytime I boost now, I have this blue trail behind me. I mean, all of this is super, super fast now too.
Yeah. Like this is kind of like, weird to go back to a Zelda mechanic, but when you have full health in Zelda and you shoot the beams out of your swords, it's a bonus for playing the game efficiently.
Correct.
Or effectively, rather.
It's very neat. Like, there's all kinds of crazy shit here, man. I
mean, yeah, this is really something. I'm still kind of trying to avoid it,
folks.
I'm more on the fence after this. I honestly, hearing that it was written by the comic book guy is, for whatever reason, maybe the thing that is piquing my interest the most, and I don't understand why.
This reminds me a lot of the
Solar
Game from
Ash.
Heart Machine. Yes.
Yeah.
Big time, right?
I mean, there were 100% boss fights that were basically this.
Right.
Running on the back of a snake thing as it's shooting things at you, or as it's...
Get this going, get this going. Shit.
These are rings, Bobby?
Yes. You're right. My mistake. I have not beat one of these yet, so we're gonna make this a little bit longer of a quick look. Okay,
sure.
We're down to no health.
Yeah.
God, like, this shit here's just fucking cool, man. Like,
this is great.
This is fucking awesome. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, This shit's fucking awesome. And you've got these
the fact that this is going on in, like, this is a scripted sequence that is going on within the open world.
Yeah.
Is pretty cool.
Ah, there it is. We got it. Didn't go fast. So they teach you, like, hey, if you're going, you can do these little, moves. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this is Sonic Frontiers. I'm having a hard time in this quick look trying to put as much thought into why I like something. I haven't felt. I have not felt the need to defend liking something for so long, and like what you want to like, but there's also just consequences of what you like. Just know that. And Sonic Frontier might be one of the biggest offenses I've made in that category, but I'm having a great time running around this world so far. I don't know how long that'll last. I mean, it could change tomorrow, but today, having a good time with it, and I think that there's enough here to make me very compelled to keep going and seeing what on earth this is going to become, or what has it already been. By the way, we're going to get a Chaos Emerald here.
Okay. Yeah, if you get 7 of those, you might be able to turn into Supersonic.
I think that's probably going to happen.
I mean, I've seen trailers. You absolutely turn into Supersonic at some points in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the second one I've gotten so far. I think. So.
Oh, hi.
Oh. Do you want to see this or not?
Sure.
Okay. I was on the fence if I was going to show this off. That, my friend, you mentioned it earlier, and I was like, oh, okay. If you think that was Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, I think there's a trailer where, like, this guy punches and you're Supersonic and smash into him at the same time, and
this is the whole
hype ensues.
That's some Kojima shit right there, man.
Mm-hmm. That's your antagonist there, the glitchy red girl.
I think so. There's another point though where, like, she's just like hanging out at a point on this world, and she's like, "You don't have what you need yet. Come back later." So I can't tell if there's just a misunderstanding here or if there's like an antagonist for sure. It would certainly seem that way. But also, we're not supposed to be here. That's the whole thing. Like, I don't know if this is like the world regulating, but you kind of get dropped into a spot that you're not supposed to be, and all of a sudden you're running around here drawing big blue dicks with your light trails.
All right, some kind of quick timey stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that does seem suitably pretty epic.
Yeah. We're trying to get our combos up. We're doing great damage, right? No.
Whoops.
Get the fuck out of here.
Ouch. Well, that went well.
Yeah, so ultimately, the reason I lovingly was teasing, I think you do go Supersonic, is because essentially you're going to hear, I'm not quite ready for that. And knowing what you were picking up. So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm not taking that thing down the traditional way.
Yeah, there it is. Not taking that down the traditional ways.
And maybe a little bit of luck.
So they kind of basically laid out right there what's going to happen. Sonic Frontiers, man, it's a hell of a thing. I'm enjoying it. It's out. Switch,
60
PlayStation,
bucks.
$60.
Yeah.
There's the deluxe version. I will say this: if you do end up getting the version that has like all the DLC, because there's some stuff that like basically kind of cuts out some of the early game build up. You just need to make sure you claim all that before you get to the point where we started this quick look. So you have to do it before you end the tutorial. All that be said, there's also DLC that you can get the shoes from the 2000s Sonic era. That's
the soap shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. $60 on everything. There's a deluxe version that has the DLC. We played this today on PC, and it's running pretty well on my setup. I've heard mileage might vary depending on where you play this. I've heard Switch is a little rough. Just buyer beware.
I believe it. And it seems like everywhere there's some texture pop-in stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Well, especially the stuff in the air as you're running through, it seems like it all just kind of pops in and out. But yeah, this is wild. It's
yes,
it's certainly not where I expected Sonic to go, and I'm still kind of holding that I don't know if this is good, but it's definitely interesting. Which
I think you should play it.
You think I should play everything, but yeah, part of me kind of feels like I need to know what this is.
Yeah, I think this is something that will probably be talked about. Like I think it's that big of a departure, that weird of a thing, that I feel like this is something that will be talked about for a few years.
Yeah,
all that to be said, this has been a very long-winded quick look at Sonic Frontiers, but if any game deserved that, it'd be this one. We play games like Sonic on Friday nights over on, or sometimes on Mondays too, on twitch.tv/casual hour. Really, Mondays and Friday nights at 10:30 p.m. Central, you can find us playing games live. Come back on a Wednesday night, you'll find us recording our podcast, The Casual Hour, with our other co-host, Johnny, where we talk about games like Sonic Frontiers as well as other ones. And then if you just want to hang out and listen to the podcast every Friday morning, wherever you listen to podcasts, look for The Casual Hour. You'll find us. Chase, I don't know if I should be saying thank you or I'm sorry, but I'll say both. I'm sorry and thank you for being here today for this. And I do hope that you end up picking this up so we can talk more about it.
Thanks, Bobby.